and welcome back to another BobBlast. Hi, I'm Bob Burridge, and this one is all about getting started. You know, ready, set, go. And I'm asked that question, well, how do you get started? Well, I am working on a series. That's number one. I'm always working on a series. Many of them of the same subject. Kind of makes it a little bit more funner and easier to do as opposed to just coming up with one good painting. So I like to say many are called, but few are chosen. So this is me working on a series called Brothers. I've got 4 of them, so that'd be 5 boys or brothers. This one over here, pretty limited palette, gold and black, and it's all about vessels. Kind of doing things that they collect things from seeds and waters, and that's the beginning of civilization, vessels, something like that. But how do I get started on all of these wonderful ideas? Well, let me just show you here on my table. So continuing on that ready, set, go, this is me getting ready before I even start to paint. So I work flat. I like to work flat. I throw the paint down, I want it to stay there. Okay, so I work flat on tables. My materials will be acrylics. So I have everything at arm's reach. I don't have to jump up and go to another place in the studio. I like to have everything ready to go. Because once I start painting, I'm in a cadence, you know, and you break that cadence, it's kind of hard to get back into it. At least it is for me. So I have everything where I can reach it, but still only put on the table what's going to serve me for this particular painting. Makes a lot of sense. Don't put everything you've ever owned, all of your art materials, and all of your brushes and little coffee cans, and just surround yourself with everything. No. Give yourself some slack. Just put on the table what you think is going to serve you for this particular painting. So for instance, 2 buckets of water, not 1, not 2, not 3, but lots of them. So I always have ready on my right-hand side, because I'm right-handed mostly, and it's ready to go. It's nice to have an extra bucket of water. I have my stirring sticks, I have my drawing pencils, I have some box tape just in case. I even have a Sharpie just in case. And these are my brushes. I'm not going to put out thousands of brushes. These are the 2 brushes that will work fine. These are my Holbein paints. I'm going to be doing these colors. I also have the Holbein, which I love, these inks, these fluid inks. So they're wonderfully concentrated and I like to pour them. So I also buy my paints in jars like this. So I have a lot of paint. This is for my smaller paintings. This is for my larger paintings. It makes sense too, all right? Also importantly is to have your sketchbook. I love my sketchbooks because I put in all of my ideas, you know, at the time, all my ideas and sketches and reminders of some of the things I've written down. It's nice to go back and reacquaint yourself and say, oh, that was a good idea then. I don't think I'll do that now. So I put I don't keep anything up here. Not too much up there. So here's a photograph of my brothers, 5 boys, and I saw my sketchbook. I was writing about it. I said, what a great idea, for me anyway, to honor my brothers and my parents also. So I'm doing a whole bunch of paintings on the theme of 5 boys or brothers. And that's what you saw at the beginning of this program on the wall. So anyway, there you are, lots of sketching. So I am so ready. I am so ready to get going. So now I have my ideas. I've done some sketching. Here's my paper. This is my watercolor paper. This is 300-pound Kilimanjaro paper from Cheap Joe's. So this is the half sheet. My whole series of brothers will be all half sheets. It kind of keeps that series in line. And also just black and white and gray. It also makes it a nice, strong presentation of the concept. Also, in case I get too wild, I'm going to start working in that all my collage papers. So these are collage images that I've made, Xeroxed them, and I'll use that in my series. I have thick textured gel, or any kind of a gel medium will work great. That's my glue. And I also have one of those catalysts, kind of a silicone wedge. It's just great to get rid of all the bubbles, you know, when you're trying to get rid of bubbles in your collages, and no paint sticks to it. It just peels right off. I have a spray bottle of It's red, so it must be danger. That's the rubbing alcohol. Blue, pretty obvious, that's my water spray bottle. Lots of paper towels. I use a lot of paper towels. Ready to go. They're already taken off the roll and folded, ready to go, so I don't have to stop breaking the cadence, so to speak. I do put this hand salve on my hands. You know, I don't like to wear gloves because I put too many holes in them, so I'm a little rough on my paper. That's why I like the 300-pound Kilimanjaro. So I put this on my hand mostly just so it's easier for me to clean my hands at the end of the day. Any kind of hand salve, you people know about all that stuff. And also I'm right-handed, so put everything on the right side, even including the water. I've seen so many people kind of sabotage themselves. You know, here I go, and they reach way over here with a tiny little cup of water. Have big buckets of water. I mean, you're a painter, and using water medium, so it's always there, and an extra one, so it's always clean. Doesn't last very long, but at least you have a choice, right? This is my paper, flat on a table. The table is my palette. I don't do any mixing on the paper. I do all my mixing right here on the table. This is just black, brown craft paper or plastic sheet, as you may remember. Lots of paper towels, and don't forget your own health. So drink lots of water. Take your vitamins, drink lots of water. And now I'm ready to go. That's called ready, set, and now I can go. And that's why I call that. So that's how I get started. Pretty simplistic, isn't it? And it makes a lot of sense. So you don't see me doing busy work. That's the most important thing because I can't wait to get painting. So prep first, not in the middle of doing a painting, and then you get going. And then the cadence is a little bit more ongoing, like a cogwheel, just on and on and on and on. And it's fantastic. I can paint that way all day long, and so can you. So the next question I hear is, well, how do you prepare your paper? And how do you get that deckled edge? I kind of like that deckled edge. It gives it kind of a craft look to it. So even though the paper, 22 by 30, comes as a full sheet, 2 deckled edges and 2 straight lines. How do you get that deckled edge back in there? Well, let me show you what I do, and I don't have to wet the paper. I see so many people folding and wetting it and jumping through all kinds of gyrations to tear that paper. You don't need to do all that stuff. Real simple, let me show you. So in my workshops, I get students and I see them getting ready to tear the paper. I see them going through all these gyrations with wet brushes and going down the middle and wetting both sides and doing all this. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. Let me just show you what works for me, okay? So you take the full sheet, fold it in half, and just line up the ends and get something like a wooden spoon or anything that's a little harder than your fingers. And you make a nice crease right down the middle, right down the middle. I can see it's starting to turn deckled already. Now, the secret here is to go back the other way. Go back the other way. And again, you make a nice tight crease. You don't have to wet it. Now, here's the fun part. When we go to tear paper, most of us, believe it or not, tear this way. And what's going to happen if you tear this way? It's going to tear diagonally. Oh boy. You want to tear paper, watch, away from itself. Away from itself. I'm being very dramatic here. So I like to do a cheater tear. There's a little bit of a start. Now here's what you do. You make a cone, like if you're about to make a cone, and you tear paper away from itself. See how simple that is? Away from itself. There's 2 half sheets. And you quickly do a 1/4 sheet. These are all standard sizes, and this is how you come up with those sizes, standard sizes. Crease it nice and tight. Fold it back again on itself the other way. This is just an old wooden spoon head. There we go. Back and forth. So what you're doing is basically breaking the fibers. Again, make a cone, and you're pulling away from each other. Terrific. I've got now 4 corners that are all deckled edges. Pretty simple. You didn't see me jumping up and down and using scissors and knives and things like that, tricks. Just take a piece of paper, fold it in half, and tear it away from itself. But make sure you go back and forth. That breaks the fibers. Well, that's how I get started. So I'm ready. I'm all set. Now it's time to go. go paint my next best masterpiece. Same with you too. Thanks for watching, and I hope you see you and your friends watching on the next BobBlast. Thanks for watching.